Yo, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech,
And this is Nica Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
and you're listening to and or watching the snobOS show, the show for Apple snobs, where we talk all things Apple and then some. We want to welcome you back to another week of the show. We are going to jump right into it. We're starting the segment with the lowdown, where we talk all things Apple, and it looks like Apple's having some issues with MacBook Pro batteries. Now, I don't have this issue, but I have a MacBook that fits in this range. So for all of the MacBook users from 2016 and 2017, if you have a MacBook Pro, there's an issue that some people were complaining about, to where the MacBook Pros won't charge past 1% no matter what you do. According to Apple, this is supposed to affect a small number of customers, but they nevertheless, acquiesced and said, hey, we will, if you are experiencing this issue, we will replace your battery for free. I doubt if they will provide you with a replacement while they repair your MacBook Pro battery. But if you are experiencing this issue, you can contact Apple support. The Apple will examine your MacBook prior to servicing it and to verify that it's eligible for a free battery replacement. But the thing I wanted to show you is, if you wanted to check if you do have this one of these qualifying MacBooks between 2016 and 2017, and you wanted to check and see if it verifies on your own, you can do so. So you got to go to the Apple logo in the upper left hand corner, and then click on system preferences, and then click on battery, and then click on choose battery in the sidebar. Then once you click on that, click battery health. If your MacBook Pro is affected, it'll show you a service recommended. So I just wanted to do that because not only is it good for if you think you are experiencing this issue, or you're experiencing this issue, it's just good to check the battery health of your MacBook anyway, because I have a 15-inch 2016 MacBook Pro. So when I saw this, I immediately went to go check to see. But it's good to just know how to check your battery health, because these older Macs, it could be to where you are at the age to where maybe it's time to start saving up your money for a new MacBook, when you can actually see and know the general battery health. So just wanted to put that out there, to where if you are experiencing this issue, Apple has decided to say, yeah, well, I guess we'll look at it and fix
I
it.
guess we'll do it. I wish they would just come on out with the larger screened M1s. I'm waiting impatiently.
Waiting impatiently again. If you want to do it, you can go ahead and get you a 13-inch and just get a super nice monitor, and then boom, you just dock into it, and boom, that gives you the bigger screen. But I get it, especially if we know they're coming out. It's just a matter of time. So instead of jumping through all those hoops, because you got to connect it to the monitor, and you got to get a dongle, and blah 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 blah. Yeah,
And I can't sit on my couch and watch TV.
Well, there you go. There you go.
At the same time. If I'm downstairs in the office, then yeah, but no.
All right. So yeah, if you're experiencing that issue, definitely reach out to Apple, do the check. You may be in line for a new battery. All right. So the next story we got is Apple glasses. Now I'm assuming these are the Apple glasses and not the Apple virtual reality rumor that somebody had. These were the actual, think of like regular or prescription glasses that have the augmented reality that overlays maps, overlays, maybe Siri results, maybe overlays music. If you're like listening to some music, you can kind of see out the corner of your eye or on your glasses display the, song or whatever the case may be.
I'm not sure, because I think this was one of my things that I talked about, predictions at the beginning of the year. And the question around the Apple glasses, what didn't seem clear was, are the Apple glasses going to be VR or AR?
Right.
There wasn't a firm, consensus of what these glasses were going to do.
Right.
So I don't think we know which version we're getting.
Well, I didn't see any indication to where it said either or in the story. But the reason why I brought it up is because, of course, they are reporting, somebody's reporting that it's in trial production phase, which means, you know, they're just that much step closer to announcing them and then actually releasing them. So this is more than just a little, you know, R&D pipe dream, you know, somebody messing around. This is actually going to happen. This is a real thing. Right, right. All, you know, so the story that I'm reading is the glasses will use micro OLED technology. Micro OLED offers display technology that is built directly into the chip wafers, making it ideal for use in Apple's augmented reality glasses. So this is what
I hope that's the case. I hope it's the AR.
Right. They'll probably move more units with augmented reality to where I can, because I can get them. And if I don't need glasses, I can just use them for the augmented reality. But like myself, I use glasses. I can pop a prescription in there and not only have prescription glasses that I need, also have the augmented reality overlaid on top of that. So just wanted to point that out, that the Apple glasses, no matter what they are, whether it be augmented reality or virtual reality, looks like they'll be a thing. Doesn't say when those will go out because, of course, right now it's just a rumor mill. All right. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about in the lowdown is Apple. It looks like in the iOS 14.5 beta that Apple Maps will also get the ability to be able to report accidents and, of course, police speed traps in Apple Maps. So if you're not familiar, think of Waze, right? You know, one of the reasons why I have Waze on my computer, or on my phone rather, is because when I'm traveling, specifically when I'm taking long trips, I'll use Waze instead of Maps because, you know, it's crowdsourced information. You know, when you're driving down the road and you see a car on the shoulder, you can actually go into the Waze app, tap a couple taps, and then report that this car has been stopped on the side of the road. Same thing for emergencies, same thing for traffic in general. And of course, like I said, I'm traveling speed traps. So, you know, crowdsourced speed traps, right? So Apple is going to do the same thing, it looks like, in 14.5 beta. So if you have the private or the public beta, you can probably check that out now. But later on, when they release it out to the public, this looks like one of the features. But the difference between Apple's this feature in Apple Maps and Waze is, with Waze, I actually have to reach over or reach up, reach down, wherever my phone is, and actually take my hands off the steering wheel and take my eyes off the road and do these taps. Well, with Apple's version that's coming out in Apple Maps, the cool thing about it is it's hands-free. So you'll be able to say, hey Siri, report car on the side of the road, you know, in 30 feet, or whatever the lingo is going to be. And then Siri will automatically do that through the map. So you can keep your hands on the steering wheel, keep your eyes on the road, and say, hey Siri, of course, I gotta.
Wasn't talking to you.
Yes, I was talking about you. I wasn't talking to you, right? So, you know, it's more safe, basically, for the Apple Maps version, according to this beta. We won't know until actually it's publicly released, but looks like Apple again is trying to make sure you look out for safety, because of course, who wants to get sued? Because people will sue, you know. So being able to integrate Siri, I said her name again. Being able to integrate Homegirl into, you know, Apple Maps to actually, you know, hands-free say where emergencies, where all these other obstacles on the road, definitely a benefit.
Yeah, and it looks like this 14.5 beta is going to include a lot. I know I was on Twitter the other day, and I saw that this beta is now going to allow you to be able to choose your default music streaming service and podcast app. So if you don't, say, use Apple Music, you can choose Tidal or the Spotify or whatever other, you know, app you use for your music streaming. But I mean, I think we talked last week about some of the different changes that are coming in 14.5. It looks like it's going to be a pretty big one.
Yeah, so I'm looking through the story. It says, so I want to get the lingo down. To prompt the assistant, just say, "Hey Siri, report," followed by the event whether it be an accident, hazard, speed check, speed trap, or just incident. Beta users who have this feature will also be able to say things like, there's a crash up ahead, there's a speed trap here, and then Homegirl will be able to understand commands like the hazard is gone or clear the accident as well. Users can say things like the accident is still here. So if you're stuck in traffic because of an accident, you can say, hey, Homegirl, the accident is still here. And then it'll update, of course, based on all the other inputs it gets from other users. So I just want to point that out because that's pretty cool. You know, this will be a reason why I can reduce my apps, my map apps from 3 to 2, because I still have Google just in case. I use Apple as my primary and I haven't had any issues, but just in case I can switch over to Google Maps, because of course that is the granddaddy of all of the navigation maps, right? Yep. So you'd be crazy not to keep that on there.
Yeah, Maps almost put me in a ditch a couple times.
Oh, so, did it?
Yeah. So I go with the OG Google Maps, and depending on where I'm going, I'll log into ways to kind of see what is the best path to take based on accents and stuff. But it's pretty much Google Maps for me.
Right. Yep. So until then, yep, that's most people as well. But like I said, with this, you have more integration into Apple Maps until they get on par. All right, so it's pretty fast. I think that is it for the lowdown. Let's move into second string, where we talk all things tech in general. So of course, we're kind of in the wake of the whole Robinhood, GameStop, Wall Street, Reddit fiasco. Things have kind of died down. The stock is slowly but surely getting back down to where it was. Hopefully that all those people who were involved, that, hopefully you were smart enough not to put more money than you were willing to lose in the stock as it was going up or high. And I hope you were smart enough to where you were watching it when it started to come back down. You sold before you, took your profits or before you lost too much money. So, I think that's one of the things a lot of the people, even though I really didn't like it, they were kind of trying to preface people and say, okay, now make sure you know what you're doing, because you could lose a lot of money in this thing, because eventually the stock is going to go back down, and it has started to go back down. Now it's not back down to what it was back in September, October last year, but it's slowly going back down to relatively reasonable stock prices. So I bring all that up to say that Robinhood, this is not the first time Robinhood has been wrapped up in issues as it relates to users on the platform.
Controversy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they can't, if it ain't one thing, it's another, right? So right. So last year, and I don't know if we reported this or not, but I
think we did.
Okay, but maybe I just recall reading it, but there was
I remember, though.
Right. There was a 20-year-old user his name was Alex Kearns. And last year he was 20 years old, and he was doing trades on Robinhood. According to the story, either he made a mistake or did something wrong. And according to him at the time, he assumed that according to the Robinhood numbers that he had lost over $700,000 in a trade or a series of trades. Of course, he freaked out, panicked, tried to contact Robinhood, couldn't get a response, couldn't get anybody to give him a straight answer. Come to find out, he didn't owe all that money, but it was too little too late. I guess he got overwhelmed, and he eventually, he got
an email saying right after all of that, saying that he needed to deposit almost $180,000 within a couple of days after it said he lost that money. Right.
So he couldn't get that. And, of course, but that was after he reached out, tried to reach out to him. This is after, of course, they did all this, and then unfortunately he got overwhelmed and committed suicide. So after that, Robinhood, they, created some scholarship fund, or created some fund, not scholarship, fund for, suicide prevention awareness, yada, yada, yada.
They're going to change the app.
Right. But fast forward to now they've kind of not necessarily dug themselves out of the Wall Street bets controversy, but now things have kind of died down, and we started to divert our attention away to the Super Bowl, to the second impeachment, to vaccinations, to Gorilla Glue Girl. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But now the attention is right back on Robinhood, because the family of this 20-year-old Alex Kearns has decided that they are going to sue Robinhood. Of course, like I mentioned, according to the complaint, Kearns never owed any money at all, but that didn't stop Robinhood from suggesting that he did or sending him an immediate action required, like Nica mentioned, email telling them he needed to deposit a little over $178,000 immediately. So basically what the family is saying is Robinhood forced, allegedly, Kearns to take his life because they didn't have the right information in place to make him understand what was going on right then and there. If that stuff had been in place, if they didn't kind of pressure him, then that could have,
led him not killing himself.
Yeah. I was gonna say a different outcome, but led him from not killing himself. So which makes sense. Unlike this other story we're going to talk about later. Clearly, there was some things going wrong, or things that could have been done better on Robinhood's end to keep situations like this at a minimum, and looks like those wasn't there. This thing's happened, and now the family is going to sue Robinhood. So I guess I just want to get your input on that.
I think that the family has a good shot at it. The fact that if it is implied that you lost over $700,000 and then you can't reach anybody on the phone after trying, for days, and you're only getting an automated response, then you get this email saying you owe over $180,000. At some point, you should be able to reach a physical person. And it's my understanding that after he passed, he then got an email saying that, oh, you don't owe any money. But by then it was too late. I mean, it's one thing, that Robinhood is making trading accessible to all these different people, and as you mentioned earlier, the issue with people not really understanding what all goes into trading. You need to use money that you can lose, because it is a possibility that you could lose it, or the possibility that you could get any more. It's a gamble either way.
Right.
But when you're dealing with this amount of money, and you're saying that that's being owed to you, and it's not owed to you, you need to make sure that your app is reflecting accurate information,
right,
especially when it comes to finance, the SEC, trading, and all of these, big, scary legal things. And I mean, just imagine a 20-year-old thinking that he
is $700,000 in the hole,
almost $1 million,
right?
Almost $250,000, and then someone saying you owe almost $200,000
immediately
within several days.
Right.
I mean,
you can imagine.
I get it,
right? You can imagine.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe when all of this originally happened, like I said, it was about a year ago. Maybe you could stretch or reach and say the reason why Robinhood halted trading during the whole Robinhood, with the whole GameStop, Wall Street bets fiasco was as a result of Robinhood, caring about the volatility of a particular stock, but you can turn around and say, well, if that was the case, if that was truly the case, then somebody going $700,000 in the hole, regardless of what happened before, regardless of anything, that much of a gap in between winning and losing for a retail investor. I could see if a hedge fund manager managing millions and millions of dollars loses $700,000 in a trade. That's probably par for the course. But if we're talking about,
it's all relative. Yeah.
If you're talking about retail investors, and Robinhood's love retail investors, somebody losing $700,000 on a platform, you would think
That should be a red flag.
even if it's true, even if it really happened and he lost $700,000, you would think that Robinhood would be like, hey, man, are you sure you
want to
do this? Or, hey, we've noticed that this trade that you're making is quickly causing you the money. Maybe you need to read something,
Call us if you have questions.
Right. If they really cared.
Something.
Yeah. So the fact that this all goes back to, Robinhood's stance that they're looking out, they're giving the little guy the opportunity. They're looking out for the little guy, but are they really when stuff like this happens, when stuff like, hedge fund managers losing money and now all of a sudden Robinhood swoops in and says, hey, we got to halt trading, but you can't buy anything. You can only sell stuff. That kind of all you add it all up and it just looks funny.
It looks very funny in the light.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the next thing up, of course, our good old subject, Facebook. Of course, if you have been living under a rock, the app du jour is Clubhouse, where everybody is kind of taking a step back in the tech scene as far as technology advancement, to where you can enter these voice only chat rooms and talk about whatever you want to talk about, and that is taken off. And this app Clubhouse has been valued at what, 1 billion or 10 billion? I can't remember which one, but all that to say, it has gotten the attention of would-be competitors, namely Facebook, and it looks like Facebook has decided to throw its hat in the ring and has reportedly working on a Clubhouse copy. Of course, people kind of noticed that Mark Zuckerberg actually joined a Clubhouse and talked about the future of augmented reality, virtual reality. Some people kind of noted that, of course, anytime any of these big time tech heads do anything, blow their nose, somebody's screenshotting it, right? So they noticed that Mark Zuckerberg actually went on Clubhouse to talk about something, and then fast forward to today, boom, Facebook's coming out or working on a Clubhouse clone. We don't know anything about it outside that they are in the early stages of development. But of course, typical of Facebook, they see what's going on and they decide to implement it themselves.
We want to get in on this money. Where the money resides, that's where they want to be.
Right. So, of course, this is following Twitter as well, who I think is a little bit further along of their development of their own Clubhouse-ish app called Spaces.
I actually am in that beta. I haven't used it.
Okay.
But apparently, and I think I've been in it for a while, but nobody that I really follow has done one. I saw one maybe a month or so ago. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I got that now. But yeah, I don't see really many people using it. I've only seen it pop up on my, now they have stories or fleets on Twitter. So I've seen it a couple of times, up there, but I never go into them because I have Clubhouse, but I don't go on that either.
Right.
So,
and I refuse. I am not revolting is the right word. What's the word? What's the other word?
Tap out?
No. What's the word when you actively campaign against something? There's a better word for it.
Actively campaign.
Protest is the right word.
I was like,
I am protesting getting on any other social media platforms. Like I said before, I'll say it again, I am social media'd out, and I'm trying to figure out how to reduce the amount of social media platforms that I'm on right now. Speaking of which, Patreon people, thank you. Join our Discord chat. I said that and completely contradicted myself. But all that to say, I won't be doing any Facebook, whatever they call it. I'm not doing Clubhouse. I'm not doing any Twitter Spaces. But I do think it's interesting that, as technologically advanced as we are with Snapchat and live reels and all these other video, we got Twitch, we got YouTube Live, we got all the things that we're doing on this show, to where we are figuring out how to visually see and interact with people on a technologically basis. But something like Clubhouse, which is just audio, it's just like a conference call that we all hate during, if you're working corporate, if you're in a 9 to 5 meetings all day long, this is nothing but a big old conference call. But it seems like people are interested in it to where, it's less tech. Maybe that's the hook. It's low tech, I don't know. But also it's trendy to where so much so Facebook is deciding they want to get in on the fun too. So, All right. So I think that is it for second string. We'll move right into for the culture, and Nica has her next update or her next entry into the Teching While Black, and I'll let her go ahead and take it off from there.
So this week's Teching While Black is Lisa. Oh gosh, I hope I really don't mess up your name, Lisa. I'm sorry, girl. Jalobiter. I'm gonna go with that. She is the current CEO and co-founder of a tech-enabled platform called Tech Equitable, which uses tech to create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive tech ecosystem. But she is a well-known computer scientist, and she got into the computer science game. I think she's been in this tech space for over 25 years. She's as we talked about last week, a now innovator in tech, creating, Black History Now. She cultivated the ascent of online video, and she is the mastermind and brains behind software that we use in products such as Hulu and Shockwave. And basically, this technology that was created by her back in 1995 has pretty much led to the development of pretty much all of the interactive media that we use now, including web animation and video games. Additionally, she developed the animation behind being able to create GIFs.
Okay.
So because you can go and select all your GIFs and make your funnies and improve your tweets and add a little flair to it, you have this lady, Lisa Jalobiter, to thank for that. So she is our honoree in this week's Teching While Black.
All right. She's done all kind of things. She, like you said, she BET Digital as their chief digital officer. Like you mentioned, Hulu as a member of their senior management team. She worked under the chief digital officer for the Department of Education during the Obama administration. So she's been in the game for a minute. So yeah. Yep. All right. So shout out to her. I tend to use GIFs all the time. So definitely a hat tip to her for something as simple as that. I know that's minimizing all the things she's done, but look, I got to identify with things that matter to me. So shout out to you for helping us get GIFs. All right. So the other thing we want to talk about in For the Culture is, of course, I already kind of alluded to it a couple times in the show. Triple G is what I call her. It's funny, but it's not funny, but it's funny. It's not funny. But it's funny. Her name is Tessica Brown, also known throughout the world, the digital world, as Gorilla Glue Girl. For those who don't know, this lady came on, I think Instagram, maybe a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been about a week or so.
And she came on and had an issue. She ran out of her favorite hair product and decided that she was going to use Gorilla Glue to spray and hold down her hair on her head. A couple of days, a couple of weeks go by. Her hair's in the same spot. So she comes on social media, according to her, after trying everything, talking to anybody, getting advice, didn't have nowhere to turn, didn't have no other ideas. So she decided to go on social media and explain what is going on, according to her, in the search of finding anybody who had any ideas as to how to get this Gorilla Glue out of her head. Fast forward to today. Let me actually see if I can pull this up. Fast forward to today. So this is her. This is what her head looks like. As you can see, it is matted down to the top of her head.
Her hair is a hard hat.
Right.
If you see the video with her rubbing it,
right,
it sounds like plastic.
Right. So, this is what she, don't look at her eyes. Don't look at her eyelashes. That's a distraction. That's not the main thing. We need you to focus and focus on her hair. The fact that it is slick and shiny, all thanks to Gorilla Glue. So, like I mentioned, fast forward to today, she has been around the world as far as everybody and their mama has an opinion. Everybody and their mama is a master chemist. Everybody has their own opinions on what, how, when, where, why. But again, fast forward, she has raised, or GoFundMe has raised over $13,000 to help her figure this thing out. She's been to the emergency room, according to her words, she couldn't stand those treatments in the emergency room. And I guess finally a plastic surgeon in LA has decided to extend his help. He's going to do some sort of procedure. He never said what or how, but he's going to offer his services for free to undo what she has done. So I think
she left today, Wednesday, to go to LA to get that.
Right. So the story that I'm reading in Complex, the reason why I put it up here was because she's kind of updated her Instagram all along the way. And I think the attention is getting to her. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to, put up this story. Just actually her latest Instagram post, maybe not the latest, but the most recent one. Obviously, it looks like all of the attention, everybody's opinions are getting to her. So she put up this post about basically, I appreciate all the people that's helped out. I appreciate all the people looking out for me. I'm over this whole ordeal. I wish I would have never put this on social media to start with. I read the comments. A lot of people are angry, upset, and mean. But I appreciate everybody's help. I'm looking forward to the surgery that I mentioned earlier. I will keep you guys updated. So I guess I wanted to ask you, I got a couple of questions. In your opinion, do you think this was a simple mistake, or do you believe this was planned in order to come up on social media? And the reason why I say that, before you give your opinion, is because there has been some things done to give off the impression that she is going to, or has figured out a way to capitalize off of this. And what I mean by that is she applied for, or somebody applied for either Instagram or Twitter, the little blue checks to where you are identified as an influencer or a celebrity or an important person, for lack of a better term. I don't have it, so I don't know. But, of course, when you see somebody with a verified Twitter or verified Instagram account, that adds a little more cachet to whatever you selling, saying, promoting, whatever. Another thing that came up, which I read that wasn't true from her, was she was even considering suing Gorilla Glue, and that brought up a whole another batch of conversations. But I guess I wanted to ask, with those things, of course, with her doing all the, been all on all the blogs, on all the stories, everybody's talking about it, we're talking about it, it seems like, of course, and then the GoFundMe with the $12,000 raised for her, is it a stretch to say that this was calculated? It just didn't go as well as she thought, or is just a simple mistake? And of course, being, our generation, social media, that's what we do. If something happens, we put it on social media. So in your opinion, was this a simple mistake, or is she an opportunist on the come up?
I don't think there's anything simple about what she's done.
Okay.
It looks like she is a woman who is very much into her looks. So she knows the tools that you need whether it's edge control, whether I think what she ran out of was 2B glue or something, or it's something called that.
Gorilla
And then there's
snot or
this,
something I
it's
heard.
something called, there's this
Yeah.
other thing called Gorilla Snot. She knows exactly what she was supposed to be using, and she knows what she used was not meant for what it was supposed to be used for.
Okay.
So I think it's a very stupid and a very costly mistake. But I think that she's seen a lot like other people who get their fame or get notoriety on social media, that she's turning it into an opportunist moment. She got verified immediately on Instagram. I don't think she has a Twitter, but I think she got verified on Instagram. She has a manager now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That's in her bio. It's in her Instagram bio, management, and then it has the email of the person to contact her for management. She's sending photos to TMZ. Everybody knows when you start sending stuff to TMZ, it starts to look a little shady. She's been on the radio giving interviews. Her sister made a TikTok that was funny about not using Gorilla Glue, or how they do point to the words. So I think she made a stupid mistake, and she used the Gorilla Glue thinking that, oh, it won't be that bad.
Right.
And then she realized, oh, crap, it's bad, because my understanding is she went on a radio show and she said that she knew what she was doing and what she was using. She just thought she could wash it out. But then I think I'm sure she has so many people in her ear. I think she's from Louisiana. I'm sure she has so many people in her ear. There was the thing of, her getting a lawyer to sue, Gorilla Glue. But you had this hair hard hat for a month, and you're just now seeking some help about it. And then when you went to the hospital and they told you they could try some things to get it done, and you said, I don't want to be in the hospital, I want to be at home and be comfortable, just can I do it at home? That's another thing. If you've had this stuff in your hair for a month and there's a doctor in the emergency room saying we can get it out, it's just going to take about 20 hours, and you don't want to stay in the hospital the 20 hours to get it out, you'd rather go home and have your sister or friend or whoever use the stuff that the hospital was going to use and video it and put it online with you writhing in pain. I mean, that just continues to show levels to, I don't want to say stupidity, but levels to not making smart decisions. This is just, one, bad decision after another. I feel bad that she's in this amount of pain because it looks really painful. I think they finally got the ponytail off, but in the video with them trying to get the ponytail off, it was so hard to get off. And then she was kind of not getting upset, but she was getting worried. Are you cutting my hair? Are you cutting my hair? Girl, that hair is gone. She doesn't want to shave it. She doesn't want to shave her head. She doesn't want to get rid of the hair. But would you want something on you that is industrial grade? It's used to put houses together. Would you want anything attached to that? I mean, she's hopefully, she doesn't have to get her scalp taken off and get a scalp transplant. Because you don't know how damaged it could be from all of the chemicals. You're not supposed to use this on, the instructions say don't use this on your skin. Well, it doesn't specifically say hair. Your hair is attached to your scalp.
It comes out of your skin.
Yeah, I mean, hair is a living, breathing thing. Don't be stupid.
Right. So that was my thing. That you mentioned that hopefully she doesn't have to get her scalp removed. Oh, look. I'm not I don't want to be one of these people to claim I'm a You
weren't in the clubhouse room, but there was apparently a clubhouse room full of doctors.
Oh, were there?
Black female doctors and chemists trying to come up with a plan to help this girl.
No. Gorilla Glue, the way it works, of course, I'm not a home improvement specialist, but I have Gorilla Glue in my house, and the way it works is when you attach it to something, it seeps into the tiny cracks and crevices that you cannot see on surfaces, and that's what it uses to stick things together. It's not just smooth surface on smooth surface.
It seals it.
It seeps down into those tiny holes to actually seal it. That's what makes it work. What also makes it work is water, because what you do is you apply water in there, and that also seals it. So
She washed her hair 15 times. Girl, you making it even worse.
And then with the washing of the hair, what you said when you mentioned, I don't want to cut my hair off and I don't want to shave my hair off. When she was washing her hair, she was going in the same direction of her hair being laid down. She wasn't going against the grain. That led me to believe, okay, either you're vain, like you mentioned, I don't want to cut my hair off, concerned about the wrong things, or two, it was kind of calculated and she doesn't want to mess up her hair because this is all part of the show. Because again, like I mentioned, she wasn't going back. I mean, she was scratching and rubbing it, but when she was using the shampoo, she wasn't going against the grain. And when I wash my hair, I really want to get in there, I'd go against the grain, right? That's just me. So again, I'm not an expert. That's just something that I noticed. And then, like you mentioned about the verification, but I say all that to say, she is going to have to get part or all of her, I don't know if you can even do this, scalp replacement.
She's going to have to get a skin graft. You know how people with burn victims,
right? Because
they put bubbles under your skin to stretch the skin and they cut it off and they put it other places.
Right. Because what I mentioned about the smooth surfaces and the Gorilla Glue seeping in, that Gorilla Glue has seeped into her follicles. And it's not coming out until you remove that layer that the hair follicles are on. So that means attached to. So that means, number one, your hair's coming off. Number two, part of your scalp is coming off. And number three, your hair follicles are dead. So there's no more hair growing back. Yep. So all that to say, again, I think we're, even though I asked the question, we're probably past, the point of, can her hair survive from this? That hair is done.
It's gone.
But I guess the next question I want to ask, is it fair for us to, chastise her? Or is it, I've seen people in this camp, a lot of people have made the case that we are quick to tear down this black woman and this is a simple mistake. So protect this black lady at all costs. I wanted to get your opinion. Is it fair for us to say, look, you put your information out there on social media, you can't get sensitive. Now people respond and people reply because of this ordeal that you clearly, knowingly put yourself into? Or should it be like, hey, we know she made a mistake. We should be empathetic. We all should be trying to help her to figure out what's going on. And it was a simple mistake. Everybody in our lives have made mistakes where we look back on it and be like, man, that was a dumb decision. And should we just ease off? What do you think what camp are you in?
I don't think we should be chastising her. I was one of the ones who was laughing at it because it was hella funny. Mm-hmm. But then when I realized the severity of it, I was like, yo, this is wild. Mm-hmm. Like, this is really, she's in excruciating pain trying to get this stuff off. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even if she did start this out as some sort of opportunistic thing, I don't think she did. I think she's long past that because it has now, she has to be embarrassed by this. Whether her intentions were to make money before or whether she, like she said, she really was trying to slick her edges down or her whole scalp or her hair, whatever. I feel bad for her because I can only imagine all the things now that have been impacted. She is a 40-year-old woman, so she is grown. Mm-hmm. Apparently, she's a teacher of like small kids.
I think she owns a daycare from what I read.
Oh, okay. I knew she did something with kids and was some kind of teacher. So her face, her image, everything is being excavated at this point. And her face is everywhere. And the world is talking about her. So she has to be embarrassed. And top it all off, she's in pain because of what's going on with her body. And then two, it has to be a certain level of anxiety because she doesn't know what's going to happen. I know that they started using goo off to get the glue off, and it looked like it was breaking it down, but you could still tell that some of it was melded on there. I can only imagine the amount of anxiety. If she was that, adamant about keeping her hair, just imagine the anxiety, that she must have around,
losing it
what
all.
they're gonna find when they get the glue off. Like, what kind of damage could she have? What type of long lasting effects could she have? And how much money is this going to cost in the long run? Because
Right.
we don't know. She could have like chemical poisoning,
And not
and you
just,
don't know it.
and then she's going to be out of work. So,
Hmm.
who knows how her business or her
She's gonna trust her
income.
children with her after
Exactly.
she's put glue on her hair.
Exactly. She could have long term, like you mentioned, long term damage from this. And it's just a shame, but I think, in my opinion, where people started to move from, okay, this is funny, to, okay, this is serious, to, okay, now girl, you tripping, is when, again, like I said, somebody mentioned it was rumored that she was contemplating suing them. I don't know
Hmm.
if that's
Heard that
happening.
too.
She mentioned that's untrue. I don't know where that came
Oh,
from.
she did say it was untrue.
According to her.
Okay.
So we can, but then you, like I said, the sending the pictures to TMZ, the GoFundMe,
Manager.
the manager, all those things. People kind of shift. It's like, okay, girl, it's one thing to put information out there and expect or welcome people's opinions. It's a whole other thing to, again, could be, we are the social media generation, to where any and everything, the first thing we want to do is film it and record it and upload it
Post it. Yep.
and post it, right? So it's almost like, yes, we should want to protect and empathize and have compassion, but you're making it very easy
To
for
turn.
people to chastise you. And she's 40 years old. She's grown. She's seen people get turned on via the internet. So again, learning from other people's mistakes. If you then turn around knowing this information, turn around and go do it yourself, and then all of a sudden, oh, I don't appreciate, I don't like, and that's no
I
fair.
wish
Y'all
I'd never
shouldn't.
said anything or kept it to
Come
my.
on, you know what time it is.
You
You
know
know
what time
what
it is.
time it
And what you
is.
and what black people gonna do? Without fail, they will turn on you when you start doing too much.
Yep.
Now, we were all on her side when, she was hurting and in pain. But then when you start to turn the tide, even the GoFundMe, I think people were okay with the GoFundMe. But the manager and immediately going to get verified on Instagram, all the videos subsequent, all the interviews subsequent. Girl, you should be only focused on getting this stuff out of your hair and seeing how your health is going to be impacted.
And
All these interviews aren't necessary for that.
right. And when you bring people into your house,
There's your
don't be
life.
surprised when they sit around and mess stuff up. I mean, why, again, if this was that serious, and this is what leads people to believe that this was opportunistic, if I put something on my person and the reaction was serious enough to where it's like, oh, this is a serious deal. Maybe I'm introvert, maybe I'm, embarrassed or ashamed or whatever, but my first inkling is not to, hey, internet, what do y'all think? My first thing is, I need to go see a doctor immediately.
And she had this on her hair for a month.
Before.
That's what's killing me. I'm like, girl, after you said that you thought you could wash it out. You put it on. I'm going to go out, do my business. What you're doing out anyway, because we're in a pandemic. But then you come home and you try and wash it out and it doesn't come out. And it feels like a hard hat. That's day one. those other 30 days, girl, what were you thinking?
Right.
You just think, oh, it'll just roll off by itself.
Right.
You can't be that, I don't want to say dumb, but you can't be that simple minded. I'll say that.
Right. And it, again, like you mentioned, when you bring people in, this is what to expect. So, while I feel for her, I don't I won't lose any sleep knowing that, she is being chastised because, one, you invited people in, and number two, you are going along with it with all the things that you mentioned. So, good or bad, you are welcoming this attention. So you get what you asked for, right? So I don't feel terribly bad about that. But then I kind of mentioned it before, but this kind of goes into the last thing. Why do we feel so compelled to share every moment, every second of our lives, good or bad, on social media? You always hear these terms, everybody's got these Instagram hot takes and Twitter gotcha quotes to where people say, well, the images that people display on social media is all the things that they want you to see. It's all the glitz, it's all the glamour, it's all the
very much curated.
Very much curated. I'm doing well, my family's doing well, my kids are better than yours, I'm smart. Why you got this 9 to 5 when you need to start an LLC, and what you doing with your stimulant, all these things where people want to portray the best of themselves on social media. But then we got a situation like this to where you could say that, okay, I'm not going to just post the good things, but I'm also going to post everything. But then that goes back to my original questions. Why does she feel like she had to post this in the first place? And then why do we feel that we have to post everything about our lives on social media? Because I think at the end of the day, that kind of what it all boils down to, her need to share this information. And what is that?
I think you said it before. We're the social media generation. We are the instant gratification generation. When you post something, you can go off and scroll and do something else, or, go to check your email, go and do something else. But when you go back to the app, the first thing you're looking for is how many likes did I get? Did I get comments? I just think it's just a manifestation of that, look at me, see me. And I think it's just even more exacerbated by the fact that we're all in the house now. I mean, some of us.
Right.
We're supposed to be indoors, and it's not a lot going on outside that we can flex for the gram for. You got to make up your own things in the house to flex for the gram for, because people still have that innate need to be seen. Everybody wants to be famous. I mean, right. And I don't think it's any different than, previous generations. I just think now that
this is the new tool.
Yeah, celebrity is so diluted now. And the fact that our favorite musicians or TV stars or, politicians or models or whoever that you look up to are all on the internet, you can make a comment to them and they interact with you. I just think it just all manifests itself in the way that anybody can be a celebrity. I mean, literally anybody. You've seen the Catch Me Outside girl, how she went from being on Dr. Phil, cussing out her mama, to having, I don't know how, but a music career, and it's just those things. I'm just a regular person. I think I'm more interesting than A, B, C, and D. I can be a celebrity too. I can be an Instagram model. I can be an influencer. I can, I can start a podcast. I can start a YouTube. I just think it's just the way where we are in the society now, is that everybody wants, publicity and fame and celebrity, and it's even more accessible now with the society that we're in.
But even that, right? Because we're on social media, right? We're on a podcast, I have YouTube and I have a blog and I share, so I'm not removing myself from the social media, experiment, but at the same time, even saying all of that, right? what is the hold to where I need to share all of my details? It's one thing to go on social media and exchange ideas. It's one thing to go on the internet and promote a business. It's one thing to go on the internet and share a passion. It's one thing to learn. It's another thing to educate. It's another thing to discuss, right? All of those things, you can put that information forward, but not be so attached to where my daily, every thought, every impulse, every need, every want, every request, every requirement, I feel like if I didn't post it, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Right. What is that?
I think it's just a popularity complex. I just think people want to be seen and feel seen. I mean, that's really the only way I can explain it. I mean, most people I know, what they post on social media is about 1% of their actual life. But then there are some people, every single thing they do, they post, whether it be for, using their social media to generate income, or whether it just be to say, I got, 5 likes. I got 5,000 likes on my last picture. The same way, I guess, when you were in school and you had on a fresh new outfit, how many people complimented, man?
Right.
15 people said I look good in this.
Right.
I mean, we had it offline, but now I just think it's just so visible. And again, what makes, I guess to make it more granular, what makes one person an alcoholic more than another one?
Right.
If you both, drink alcohol, what leads one person to just take it to a completely extreme and just get completely wrapped up in, drinking and alcohol and all that stuff? Whereas another person may, be, they drink, it's
social drinking.
It's social drinking, or even if they have a glass of wine every night, it's what is the difference between that person who can have some self-control and then the other person who doesn't have that self-control filter to say, whoa, okay, I need to stop. This is getting too much.
Right. Yeah. There, I guess there is no, to coin the term, there's no filter, I guess, nowadays, bringing it back to this story again, it's a shame that she went through this, but she's bringing us along. For good or bad.
We're invested. I've been invested in this thing. I'm like, where's the update? Like, what's going on?
Right.
And it just like sucks you in, because honestly, it's like I hate to say it, it's like another form of entertainment, because now we're on this journey with you. It's how reality TV can be, even though we know reality TV is
scripted.
Not really reality,
Right.
It's scripted. But it's the same thing where you get pulled into a story and you want to know how the story ends, especially if it's very compelling. And this is a very compelling situation we have.
Yep, absolutely.
Everybody knows how to do it.
Yep. Everybody's got side pieces and think pieces and Facebook posts and Instagram posts all talking about and around and about this girl. So I guess this is what you wanted. This is what you signed up for. So,
and then once it's all, once the next thing comes along, unfortunately, her and the situation be forgotten and we'll be on to the next thing. There is no loyalty in this social media game.
Right. So
once your 15 minutes are up, or once you're out of the spotlight, even though you try and hold on to it, she's probably going to try and hang on to this and try and make something out of it. But by the time people's focus has shifted, because we have such a short attention span, once we shifted on to the next thing, I'm sorry, but no one is thinking about that anymore.
Yep. So again, I hope she gets everything she asked for, with this whole thing. I hope she gets the help that she needs. I hope, this surgery is successful. I understand, women and their, I don't want to call it a complex, hair. I understand the attachment. I don't want to call it complex, an attachment,
our hair is our crowning glory.
Exactly. So, running the risk of losing that forever, I hope that's not the case. But at the same time, it's like, you brought us along for the ride. So hope you hang in there through this whole ride, good or bad. Right.
Yep.
All right, all right. So enough of that. Let's move off of that. Let's move into the hookup. And I just found this little gadget, and I just wanted to share with everybody because I bought it immediately because it solves a problem that I've always had. Right. So I'll give you the setup. When I am, working at my desk, I charge my Apple Watch at night. Sits at my desk at night. I've got the charger puck wrapped up and connected to my little desktop charger to where when I take my watch off, the battery is so good, it lasts pretty much the whole day, right? But there are times when I need to charge my watch or actually connect it to the charger in the middle of the day in order to do things like update. When a new iOS or watchOS update comes out, in order to update it, you got to put it on the charger. So where I'm working in the middle of the day, when this iOS update drops versus where my desktop charger is to actually charge my app, it's an inconvenience, right? So I didn't buy another Apple Watch charger. I don't want to feel like dangling with the cables because it's few and far between. As inconvenient as it is, it doesn't happen all the time. So I was doing research for the show, coming up with, show topics, and I found that one of my favorite companies, Sateki, they've come up with a tiny double-sided wireless charger that when you plug it into a USB port, like your iPad Pro, if you've got one of the newer iPad Pros with USB-C, if you've got one of the newer MacBooks with USB-C charging, or if you have a USB charging wall outlet, this little small USB-C charger can charge your Apple Watch close to your desk. But the benefit of this I thought was pretty cool. If you flip it around the other way, you can actually place your wireless charging case for your AirPods or your AirPods Pro on it, and it'll wirelessly charge your AirPods Pro as well. So that's my little hookup tip, and I'm actually going to put it on the screen for those who are listening. Pretend you're actually looking at my screen, and it's like pretty much no bigger than the size of your AirPods Pro case, with it being a little bit thinner, and it has a USB-C port on the end of it, and you actually plug that into like the perfect scenario is when I need to charge up my Apple Watch when I'm sitting at my desk with my MacBook. I can take this thing out, plug it into one of the open USB ports, take my watch off, lay it on this charger, and then I can do my update in the middle of the day without having to go sit up and plug it into my desktop, or for when I'm traveling, when we can do that. Can't do it right now, but eventually when we go out being able to travel again, you can take this with you versus unhooking and undoing your Apple Watch charger from your current charging setup. You can just take this, throw it in the bag. When you need to charge your phone, when you need to charge your whatever the case may be, you can take this, plug it right up. So this is available on Apple's website. It's only available on Apple's website, and it's available now for $50. So
wow, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and like I said, it seems like a lot, $50 for something so tiny. But when I found out you can flip it over and also put your AirPods on it to charge it up while you're working at your desk when you're not listening to music or on a call, whatever the case may be, I was sold. So again, this is not made by Apple. It's made from Sateki, but it's only available on Apple's website. It's available right now. And like I said, it's available for $50. And it seems like it's a pretty popular product because it won't ship. I won't get it until early March, like the second week of March. So,
wow.
So that leads me to believe that people are scooping these things up because the shipping dates are getting pushed out. When I normally order something from Apple, it'll come the next day, because they've got it at the store. They'll send somebody out. But the fact that I ordered this thing today and I won't get it till like the 11th of March means that this is like a nice little hot commodity. Yeah, buddy. So if you're interested in this, if you feel the need for a travel Apple Watch / AirPods Pro charger, if you need something to go on your desktop and you don't feel like buying a whole nother charger, dealing with all the cables, this is definitely a nice little hookup. So definitely check that out, and we'll make sure we put a link to it in the show notes.
Dope.
All right. So Nica, if you don't have anything else, I
Oh,
think that is it for this week. We definitely appreciate everybody riding with us so far. Definitely download, rate, and review us. Specifically, we need y'all to definitely start downloading and rating and reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts specifically, but also Google Podcasts and Spotify. We definitely need those reviews. We definitely need those ratings in order to put us on the map in the Apple Podcast world. Definitely engage with us on Twitter. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're at the handle snobOScast. Definitely watch us on YouTube. We will upload this to our YouTube channel at snobOScast. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, like the episode, subscribe. Make sure you're notified because, of course, all those things drive up the ratings so people can discover us in YouTube. If you want to leave comments and suggestions, you can definitely leave those on our website. We're at snobOS.com, or you can shoot us an email at snobOScast@gmail.com. Definitely support the show. If you want to become a Patreon, you'll get access to our live show. You'll get access to the pre-show where we talk about things that are not on the regular show. We talked about the, Super Bowl in the pre-show this week. Talked about, how upset we were at the outcome, but you can get all that by joining our Patreon for as little as $5 a month. You get access to all of that. If you don't feel like want to do it on a monthly basis, or you like something that we just said and you want to give a one-time donation, you definitely can do that. You can do that via PayPal. If you go to paypal.me/snobOS, you can give us a one-time donation, a love offering, as you will. Any dollar amount will do. And other than that, that is it for this week. So, Nica, if you don't have anything else, we are out. Peace.
bye.